starting up. I'm going to just wait. I'm waiting until I see confirmation on YouTube. I'm waiting until I see confirmation on YouTube. Waiting until I see confirmation on YouTube. And the echo of myself is the confirmation. So I'm waiting. Thank you everybody for joining us. This is the MBTA Rider Oversight Committee meeting for September 23rd, 2025. I'm Stefan Wunsch. I'm the co-chair of the Rider Oversight Committee, along with my co-chair, Wig Zamor. Want to say hi and introduce yourself, Wig.
Hi, everybody. I'm a longtime member from Somerville. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much. And Len, want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure, Leonard Tiggins, live in East Arlington, longtime member. Oh, I guess I'm co-chair of the Capital Investment and Finance Committee subcommittee. That's it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Waiting for Stefan to be comfortable. Can see you talking, Stefan, but can't hear you.
I did the. Sorry, I'm off my game today. I use the physical mute button on my microphone so that if I mute myself, then it pops up I'm muted. But so I use the actual physical mute button on my microphone because then it doesn't pop up. Anyway, sorry. False start there with that microphone glitch. You're both co-hosts now. That's the technical part out of the way. And we do have the beginning of the meeting being online access troubleshooting, so check. Would you like to tell us about that really interesting and exciting new development in Assembly? Would you like to do that like under the context of, is it just your choice, under the context of public comment or like
I've
new
got to
business?
get rid of a.
Well, that's fine. That's okay. I'm going to pull up. You do that, Wig. No worries at all. I'm going to pull up the subcommittee minutes that I.
Okay, it's gone.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, I do have one quick public comment whenever it's appropriate.
Go right ahead. We're a public comment period right now. Go for it.
Okay. I happened to go to 5 days of Salata conference meetings over the last 6 days, and they start with two short, one significant meeting per day the first 2 days, and then there's two very intense days that they had at Harvard Business School campus, and then yesterday there was a day plus long bus trip and back to the Harvard forest. And Salata Institute is a climate institute at Harvard, put on annually due to the generosity of a contributor who gave them $200 million to do this. And there were people from around the region, and some people from around the country, and some people from around the world. And their topics are very broad with regard to climate and sustainability. So I had never heard of it before, but a lot of people were people who repeated going there, and they covered some topics I've just never heard of before. So it was quite interesting. So I just wanted to plant a stake in the ground in case any of you are ever interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. I pulled up the website, as you can see, Salata Institute. I have never heard of that, and I work at Harvard. I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I could tell from the agenda that some things are probably, along common themes. Some things are very one-off. including
Okay.
significant, including significant participation by large energy players. So it was pretty interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Uh, that is great. I'm glad you mentioned that. Um, all right. I apologize for this, but just bear with me. Um, Wig, you said there was 6 days of meetings.
Uh, there were, yeah, there were meetings on 6 days. The first two
Wow.
were one event per day. One was at the Radcliffe Institute. Um, it was
Wow.
very equity focused, but just a short couple
Very,
hours.
very cool. No, but still,
And
I just go ahead, finish, please.
yeah, and the second day was similarly a little bit lower intensity, but the last 3 days were very intense.
That is really cool. The reason I was apologizing is I'm just saying with all those events and all of that stuff going on, that's a lot of meetings.
Yeah,
So that's a lot of
I got it. I
meetings.
got it. I
I
got
had
it.
Stefan
to.
is
I'm
in character.
sorry. I'm
Mm,
sorry. I
mm,
just I just had to.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it just means that we need some tea, a cup of tea.
Well, we are a T oversight
There you
committee.
go.
Oh my God, he's on a
All right.
roll.
Um, unless let me just check on the live stream just to be equitable. Nope, there's nobody who's put anything in the chat on the Zoom YouTube live stream. So I will move on to the oh, this agenda item next about the review from the joint subcommittees. And I think this might be um, a lot of discussion topics that you would like to particularly see, Wig, since I know you weren't able to join us. You were missed, by the way, but not a problem. You were missed. That's all I
Sorry,
wanted to say about
sorry
that. No,
about that.
don't worry about it. I just wanted to say that you were missed. But the interesting thing started off at the beginning where we had an unexpected guest. Avi, I don't think this last name spelling is correct. This is like a phonetic.
Yeah,
I believe I got Avi Ashavsky from VIA. He was asked by his director or manager Rob Ryans to just join and listen, and we ended up speaking with Avi quite a bit. Via supplies the remix tool, which the MBTA uses. I'm actually going to put that link into the Zoom chat so that it's clickable in case you want to go and pull it up right now. Feel free. Um, while we were talking with Avi, I Googled for remix on the MBTA website, and lo and behold, what came up is the previous bus. Well, actually, it's not previous. I believe this is still the most recent one. The bus network redesign. I believe it was last updated in 2022. And Jonathan, I think, was telling us that things have changed since then. Some have been implemented, but this is still the full. I hope Jonathan will correct me if I'm wrong. I hope I'm not misspeaking. But this is, as it said, powered by Remix. So indeed, this tool, which is very interactive, which I think we've seen before. I think we pulled this up and we were talking about it in a previous meeting. This is produced, supported by VIA, the company from at which Avi works. So we heard from him a little bit about that. We shared with Avi what we do, and I don't want to speak for other people at the who were there, but I thought it was uh, a very helpful, interesting conversation. That was a complete surprise, and I think it was a wonderful thing. Len, do you want to add any comment to that? Because I'm sort of inserting a lot of personal opinion there.
No,
And
no, no,
I don't
no.
want to have everything just be my personal opinion on that.
I agree. Yeah, so he seems like a nice guy. He was there mostly to listen. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, I think we all really wanted to ask him a lot of questions, me, but
Yes.
he was really there to listen. Also, he was not in the best situation. I think he was at the airport. I mean, he was waiting to board a plane, so it can be hard to talk in those situations too, because you don't hear very well, and so I think that was partly it too. He didn't say whether or not. He didn't say whether he would be back. I mean, I
Correct.
hope he will, but
Would be
but
great.
I sent maybe I didn't include Wig on this, me, but I sent you all the link me to Via's IPO. So interestingly, later
Oh,
that week, Via had its IPO on the New York Stock Exchange.
I
It,
missed that link. I missed
yeah,
your email. Thank you.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, did I include you on it, Wig?
Oh, you're muted, Wig.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I could have missed it. I was in Atlanta
Yeah.
for international conference and actually caught COVID for a couple days after once I was back.
Oh no.
Uh, well, honestly, it was just a little blip. I mean,
Oh,
between my history, kind of long history with it, and having gotten all those vaccines, it really was not that big a deal. I
oh, I'm
think it
glad.
was probably the long lines in the airports. There was a lot of COVID in Texas and Florida before it started spreading around the country this year. So it was coming up from the south. Um, but
Mhm.
anyway, it was pretty. I won't go into it, but it was quite interesting. Uh, day, multiple days of meetings in Atlanta. So
Cool.
on global health, basically,
Yeah.
and environment.
Well, I missed. I'm sure you sent it to me, Len. I'm sure I missed it.
I
The
sent it on the
mention
third.
about the.
I sent it on the 13th. I mean, so I'm just
Okay,
looking.
excellent. Thank you.
So
But
so
you said it was
yeah,
like just a couple days after Avi had joined us. There was the IPO. That's very cool.
right. So yeah, so what's so I mean, I intend to explore the website some more.
Hmm.
Because I think there's some interesting ideas there. Especially for people like me, who I know you've heard me say this a zillion times, who just thinks of I like to see our entire transportation network become a transit and freight network, and that we price access to it accordingly. And by that
Yep.
it's kind of like a pay as you go. With the subsidies, or increased subsidies, for people of low income. I think you just make the system a whole lot more equitable that way, and then you can restrict its usage. But I'm more of a carrot person than a stick person. So you kind of incentivize people to use the system the way you want, by lowering the price. Of course, one person's carrot is another person's stick. But at
Yep.
the same time, instead of like penalizing someone by fining them, you kind of give them the option where you can pay more or you can pay less. And I don't want to sound like the guy from the FCC or anything, but
Yeah.
it's like how you use it will determine how you pay for it. So my whole point to it, I think there are probably some things I can learn on their site, that would maybe give some more ideas about the feasibility of that notion, of our
Hmm.
transportation system. Uh, so yeah. And the nice thing too about a publicly traded company is that in their um, quarterly statements, they often have some interesting preliminary, reading. They tend to be a little bit conservative in their reports because they don't want to mislead their investors. But still, you get some interesting insights. At least what they're
Yep.
thinking about doing and
There
how
we
it's
go.
really working when it comes to the bottom line.
Oh, I'm glad I pulled up their news releases because look what's the most recent one from just 10 days ago. Less than 10 days ago.
Uh,
How about that? because we were talking a little bit, and I'll get to this in the when I summarize the rest of the agenda from the subcommittee wig, but we were talking about this being basically a how geez, how do we describe this properly, Len? Like this kind of microtransit. It's like a municipally funded kind of group Uber. Is that a good way to put it? I'm not using the right words.
No, I don't have a way. I don't have a good way of summing it up either.
Okay.
So
Because
uh,
it just blows my mind that it's $2 a ride. Oh, okay, only Monday through Friday, 7 to 7 p.m. Okay, but still, $2 a ride? I mean, subsidized,
well,
but
what? Go ahead.
wow. Well,
Well,
after you,
good. This is where I think reading, their quarterly reports will come in handy to the extent they break out this kind of, profit loss, in detail, in the reports, so we might get some insights, from the reports about how well these kinds of things are working out. I mean, whether they're making money or losing
Mhm.
money, on any given service. So yeah.
Well, I can speak from personal experience that the northeastern Point of Pines neighborhood is very mobility limited. And I think Wig, you know Point of Pines from all the time you spent on the North Shore as well. It's what, one or two bus routes that circle in and it's
Yeah.
yeah. So all right. Well, that was interesting. That was a nice by coincidence discovery just because I pulled up the website. Any more on the on VIA?
No.
Okay,
Well, I have a general comment that
please, yeah, please do.
it may just be my age, but I think that uh, the things that people use every day, they get pretty knowledgeable about, but there is so much information coming at people and different groups, pack package the information differently. Um, I think it's difficult for people to learn things that are not within similar formats and timing. And I just think we've got, just talking about the good stuff that people are trying to do. I think there's too much of it, and it's coming. It's coming in so many different forms that I think there's a limit on people's ability to learn well enough to use it. You can only. I think a lot of people are just limited to. There's so much of their life they can spend on on knowing how they get around, and
Well,
you guys are transportation junkies and transit junkies, but for a normal person, I think it's easy to understand the things you use every day and very difficult, especially people who have any handicap, whether it's age or something else.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, look, there is a lot of information out there on a lot of different things, and I mean, when I need to do something new, I mean, I kind of search on the web,
Right.
to find out information about it. And I find like YouTube is a really good resource when it comes to doing something that's completely out of my league and that's more kind of mechanical, like shampooing a rug. You know what I mean? It's like it's not something I do, and then you look and you kind of get a sense of, well, is this something I can do, or do I need to get a professional? I mean, if I am going to try to do it, then how do I go about doing it? I mean, and so for those who are visually inclined, I mean, for those kind of mechanical things that use YouTube, for those who like to read, I mean, so there's just lots of resources out there, so that when you want to get the information, you can get the information. Because I find that I myself. I mean, but I think most people too, they really only learn, when they want to learn. and that's when they really want something. If you were to just like send a person an email, a newsletter on something with all this kind of interesting information, they're just not going to really absorb it because it's like, well, that's all interesting and whatnot. But it's when you really need to do something and you go out and seek the knowledge, that's when, you start learning it. So I would say, like, just have the information out there, have it in a variety of formats, so that people re can grasp it in the way that works best for them. And it may be, and then I don't know I'm sure the MBTA has a YouTube channel, but it may be, that they may need to make more, YouTube type clips for how to do various things. Even if it seems really simple, it might be good if they have that clip for someone who learns that way. I'm not saying they don't have it. I need to go and look and see if they have a YouTube channel and what's on it. But if not, that might be something that's handy. Does that address your
Yeah.
concerns, Wig?
Yeah, but I'm also sitting here thinking that the three of us in our own ways might be above average in being able to use our thinking ability to find information.
I doubt it. I doubt
Uh,
it. The kids these
well,
days are pretty smart. The kids are smart. It's like they can find what they want to find,
Well,
and figure it out. So yeah, I don't think we're above average. We
well,
might
I
be above average for some people in our cohort. But for the generations coming after us, it's like, oh, I don't think we're above average. Uh,
my thought on that about for me in my mid 50s, I think it's probably anybody who's 40 and younger at this point would find something like this a no-brainer, but I totally get and I totally support Wig's concern about anybody who's older than me, mid 50s. But I am encouraged by just the simple, I mean, just to look at what I'm sharing here on the screen. For example, if somebody could get to this web page, I mean, and even my mother in her 90s, sorry, late 80s, not 90s yet. Sorry, mom. Even my mother in her late 80s can go to a website and navigate a website no problem. This is so well laid out. If you could get here, piece of cake. For the getting the word out to people, if there were flyers that were handed out at like the Revere and Chelsea senior centers, I mean, I just noticed that a lot of these seem to be focused on students and elderly, shopping center, Deaconess urgent care. Oh, that's not draggable. Um, so if this was printed out in a small flyer and dropped like around different locations, I bet it would be very highly, very well adopted, at least for if this is a trial, I can't tell. What do you think, Wig? Does this particular approach
that
with this
looks
simple
good,
web
but I'm
page?
thinking, if you go up
Yep.
the other direction, um, what about all those people who don't use cell phones?
Oh,
and
I caught that as well. And it says down here, how to book a ride. No smartphone, no problem. Just call up. Phone number.
Yeah,
So they seem to have everything covered.
yeah. Well, all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's in the interests of this now um for sorry, public company. I'm sure they were for profit before, but now they're public since the IPO. I'm sure it's in their interests to make everything as accessible to all ages, all incomes, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, as accessible as possible.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, oh, how
If
so?
you can,
I'm
if you can
curious.
easily grab 80% of the market, you don't need the rest of it.
Oh, I see your point. I see your point.
I mean, I don't, I don't mean to send us into depth about this, but there are plenty of people that have one kind of handicap or another, whether it's visual or walking ability or,
Yeah.
but I think most of them probably, if they're challenged, they just use talking to people who they think might be able to help them. Kids learn faster, but I think older people that still think clearly when there are things they can't do, I think they do come up with their own workarounds to kind of support,
Hmm.
kind of lends comfort.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
also, yeah, and also, I mean, it's okay to ask someone.
yeah,
That's kind of what YouTube is. It's like you're asking someone who's kind of like,
yeah,
show me how to do this, and they've kind of
yeah,
created the video. I mean, and AI will probably become a factor that helps out now, where people can just ask a question as opposed to punch in some keywords and then see what you get. But I think asking someone is certainly, a good way to
yeah,
go about things. And then the question is, is the information pervasive enough that they can get that help from the person that they ask?
yeah.
Uh,
I'll give you an example. When I was coming back, I was in a line that probably had 500 people in front of me at the Atlanta airport, and it was moving very slowly. And I don't, when I was young, I caught some planes when we left Cambridge after they were supposed to depart and caught them, but caught them at Logan. But if there hadn't been someone with a suit on who was clearly an airport employee that I could ask, like, this is my situation. What do you suggest I do? And she said, "Oh, here, come with me." She just opened the line up and took
yeah,
me a way I wouldn't have known to go and put me in a much shorter line. So,
right,
so that goes to your point, Len,
right.
um, that that there usually are people that asking is probably the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
for me. I mean, when it comes to like getting from point A to point B, I will use a map.
yeah,
I will rarely ask someone. Unless I am hopelessly lost and the map just isn't working for me. But if I go into a grocery store, and I don't know where a food item is, I just look for someone who works there. And say, where is this? Because generally there isn't a guide to the stores.
right,
Some stop and shops or in some ends of the aisles, if you know, to look there, they'll have a little guide that'll tell you what aisle is
right,
in. But a lot of stores don't have those, so it's like, well,
right,
how do I possibly know where stuff is in the store? It's like I'm gonna
right.
ask someone, and I have no problems doing that at all.
Yeah.
So if I
And in my case in Atlanta, I got there way,
yeah,
early. Um, but the line was
yeah,
just extraordinary.
right.
So that's why I asked, and the person was very helpful. So
Yeah. Yeah, so my feelings about the technology like this is like you try to encourage it to move along as fast as it can, and yes, some people are going to be left behind, in the wake, or just left
right,
behind, But then be the company itself, or those of us, who care and who feels it's our job, to take
yep,
care of those who are being left behind, comes along and helps them out,
yep,
and gets them caught up. But I really cringe at the notion of holding back progress because we can't bring everyone along at the same rate. We'll never be able to do that.
yeah,
We just have to have a formal process in place to take care of those who are left behind.
yeah.
You know,
No, no,
uh,
I agree with that.
uh,
Um, yep.
so you can always call me Wig. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a cell phone.
Well, you can email me. Well, I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. No,
Uh,
I always have email.
yeah.
I will. This is totally spurious, but when I go to conferences, I never stay near the conference. And my hotel had hundreds and hundreds of Sonic Hedgehog fans from all over the country and the world. They were having a multi-day Hedgehog convention, and they were incredibly nice, well-behaved people.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Many of them costumed in things I didn't understand, but and most of them were computer gamers.
just, just beware the furries. Just. So, 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 they're nice and cuddly, but they can be a little bit too cuddly sometimes.
Uh, I don't know anything about it.
A- anything else about
Nope.
the new Revere Chelsea service or Via before we move on?
Nope. Move on, I
uh,
think.
Okay, cool.
uh,
Um, I got a little distracted by a brief thing from work, but that's put off till after 7 o'clock, so I am
Okay.
back. Um, I want to pull back up the subcommittee minutes, and it was pointed out to us, by the way, Wig, you might find this particularly interesting, that the new late night service that was announced with much fanfare does not extend service by an hour or more. It extends service by 59 minutes
Okay.
because that doesn't require public process because it's less than 1 hour.
Yep.
In this case, it's an expansion of service, extension of service. So,
Yep.
with public process for an expansion of service, I personally think that's a very smart thing. Is it following the letter of the law? Yeah. I mean, the intention of the whole public process for more than an hour's worth of service change is a good one, but 59 minutes just
yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah.
just to be clear though, I mean, because you said the letter of the law, I mean, the letter about policy, I mean, because I don't think there's any,
Policy. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
policy, because there's
Policy.
no like legal issues here going
Thank
on,
you. Yes. Absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
MBTA's internal service uh planning
Policy.
policy, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and I think and I think the T does more equity analysis, than it generally has to, even for I think the in the cases where things are required,
I'll go with that.
equity
Yeah.
analysis is required, but and so I think he, I think since let me pause a little bit, make sure I'm saying it in a confusing way. What you're really generally looking for in the equity analysis is that you aren't providing a benefit, to non-EJ um, groups,
Right.
to a great extent, than to
Mm.
the EJ groups, so 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 it I I'm trying to think if the MBTA came to the MPO being saying that it wanted to do an equity analysis on increased late night service. I just need to go back and look through the agenda, but I don't think they did. And the reason I think to look at the MPO's records is because they would have come to CTPS to do that kind of work. And so that would have had to come
Yeah.
in front of the MBTA, the
Yeah.
MPO board, so I feel that I need to go back and see whether or not that was done, before I say that they didn't do it. Although I don't think we got indications at the last meeting, that the that CTPS had done that kind of analysis, and I think we would
Hmm.
have, So, anyways,
I have a question. Uh, because I was away, I'm not sure if this has been covered, but when the train got stuck under Boston Harbor, I'm not asking about. I thought that response was phenomenal, getting
Hmm.
everybody out across the harbor, just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Um, but I had a scheduled meeting in East Boston that evening, and I wondered if there had been any analysis of the emergency response, just to discuss kind of what went great, what maybe didn't go so perfectly, because that was a really big deal. Uh, you know,
Yes.
I saw. I walked to South Station, and but it was pretty much a mess. I walked back and forth. And everybody was orderly. The public was extremely orderly and well behaved. It was mostly daytime, but I got to East Boston and there was no notice that the meeting at the rental car center where they have meeting facilities had been canceled. There was no notice at all. And it was really a mess to I had to basically walk to Logan and catch a bus back, which was fine. And there were new people
Oh,
coming into town, like wondering what the hell's going on. But so
oh,
I kind of wondered if there was a little analysis of that
Well, I'm sure there was,
response.
but you're saying that I'm trying to remember. So a train got stuck in the tunnel, a blue line train, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
and the emergency getting the people off, that
right,
response was perfect as
right,
far as
right.
I could tell.
And how long was service out on the blue line?
Uh, it was out a long time, and the
Right.
airport was kind of messed up, but some of that was me not knowing perfectly. Um, I was trying to get back from the rental car center where there was no sign posted that the meeting had been canceled, and this was a Massport Oversight Committee probably. Um, And then, so I made my way to the terminals at Logan, and then eventually made my way back across.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was, um, everybody was in good behavior, but it was not. There was not a lot of information to people on what to do. There were people coming into town, never been to Boston before, arriving at Logan, and there were a lot of loose ends.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I'm sure they do an analysis like that. It's mainly the it's like you would like to see me as much of the analysis or at least conclusion as possible. I don't think that's unreasonable. It's just a matter of who would go to get that. And
Because of the circumstances, it just happened that I was almost in a similar position as the people flying in. Because, when I fly
right,
to a conference, I do some homework in advance. I kind of know what my options are, or at least enough to know what to ask to. But in that situation, it wasn't clear in real time what was running okay, what wasn't running okay, and how to recover if your trip was kind of bumped around a little bit.
right.
Just talking ground transportation, not the aviation.
Right. Yeah. No. No. I know. I
Well,
mean, well, it is a difficult situation because then when you're
Yeah,
thinking you've lost a whole line, and then you're thinking,
yeah,
a lot of
and
people are going to transfer over, to
yep,
other ways of getting there. What impact will that have? I mean, on those other, means of getting to a place. I
yep,
mean, and I gotta tell you, even when I get information, I'm just like, I don't know how reliable this is.
yeah. And when I got to Government Center,
Yeah,
they had been running the Green Line trains and like on the wrong tracks and everything as a response, and some of the temporary signage was wrong. Everybody was in good spirits because,
right,
they knew that if they couldn't get on one crush capacity Green Line train going in the right direction, you just wait and, sooner or later you're going to get on one.
right,
Um, but so there were no, what I'm asking about did not create any disasters. I'm just,
right.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
No, well, I would say, look, I mean, with you being on the committee or board, you're on the board at Massport or the committee?
I'm
You're on
on a
the
similar committee to this. I mean,
right,
they're not run the same way, but it's a small state agency.
right. Well, you should be able to
Um,
ask them, I mean, because they have a relationship with the T, I'm sure. You can ask them about that analysis.
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
I mean, the Massport CAC has two paid staff,
yeah. Who
unlike
are they, by the
this.
way?
Um, um, Aaron Toffler is the chief is the main staff person, and then there's an executive assistant. Um,
Yeah. I was just wondering if I knew one of them because I mean, there's a person
well,
from
you
Mass.
probably would know Aaron Toffler if you looked him up because he's out of BC law and he's done a number of things similar to this.
Oh,
He replaced Peter Koff as the person who assisted East Boston citizens with regard to Logan and
right.
Massport impacts, and
Yeah,
he's done a number of different things, but he was kind of a natural for this.
right. Do you know Sarah Lee?
the name sounds familiar, but
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. She's the manager of transportation planning at Massport because
Yeah, I don't know her well,
she's the
but
person that is the designee me for the CEO, who's Rich Davey. You know,
yeah,
um,
I know Rich Davy pretty
yeah,
well.
yeah. When did he start there?
A while back, he was in New York
Yeah,
and came back. He has a very good
yeah,
personality.
he does. Yeah, I liked him at the T a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was just wondering when he started at Massport. I just wasn't aware of it.
yeah,
So.
he's been back a little while.
Uh,
And honestly, I my interactions with Phil Eng, I think he's to bring somebody up from New York Transit. You're getting, especially someone with an engineering background. I think that's he's probably overqualified to run Boston.
Hmm.
I mean,
How and when do you
New York is huge.
yeah, how and when do you interact with Phil Eng?
Well,
What's the venue? What's the forum? I'm just curious.
well, a number of different times. So he was the main speaker a year ago in at Assembly to that Transportation Management Association.
Nice.
Um, and not so much other than that. I mean, just whatever random meetings I happen to hop into that he happens to be connected with. But I don't,
Okay.
I don't. I go to a few meetings of all many different types, but I don't go to a lot of any one type.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of random. He was very
Okay.
good as the main speaker a year ago at the TMA for Assembly Square.
Excellent.
Very good.
Oh, by the way, I found the specific detail of the time frame when that cable came down that was affecting the sorry, that's my on-call work phone ringing again, which I can deal with later. That cable problem in the Blue Line tunnel was about 2:30 p.m. and regular service resumed about 8:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth pointing out that Eng said, while we were there, we also saw some other areas to address.
Yep.
And so we're going to go back over the next few nights and
Yep.
yeah, all right. I mean,
Yep.
like you do. If you're there, take a look around. Oh, some other possible issues. Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen I just realized for the board meeting, the next full MBTA board meeting is tomorrow, as I was mentioning earlier. There's a lot of slides that are already posted, but the presentation from the GM is not one of those. I bet uh, he'll mention that briefly since, um, well, unless, well, I don't, that's interesting. This article doesn't actually say the exact day. It does say story 2 months ago, so maybe it was in a previous uh presentation to the board from the GM and I missed it. Oh, anyway, any more before I go back to notes? Because I
Yep.
think there's a few more things that you might find interesting, Wig.
Yep.
Um, let me see. I actually think I will kind of skip. I mean, this is all here for people to read. Sorry. Let me just sorry, I just have to acknowledge the thing that's from work. We're not on call for this evening. Okay, sorry. I'm getting calls from our automated system like I'm on call, but I'm not on call. Anyway, I got now I'm completely distracted. Oh yeah, discussions about service delivery cost value. Um, Len, unless I'm missing anything, thing, I guess. Oh, right. Yeah, this is worth mentioning very quickly where um the whole bus network redesign was what, 3 years ago, and it was a big plan, but it seems like there's smaller pieces that are actually being done, sort of incremental steps towards bus network redesign instead of trying to do the whole thing all at once, which seems like a good approach. I mean, biting off little bits,
Yep.
not more than you can chew. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
they're always
uh,
going to do it in phases. I mean, but I think what
Yeah.
we were being told is that, I mean, phase one is still being done, incrementally,
Yeah.
so it's not really clear to
yeah,
me
but
how
in
much of,
smaller, like a
yeah.
couple of routes here, a couple of routes there, that kind of thing. And I did make the note here also. Did I say that this? No, I guess I didn't take the note about I maybe I'm misunderstanding. The late night service expansion that just happened was not. No, I guess it wasn't really part of the bus network redesign. Um, but I did highlight before that um oh, there it is. Some of this, the late night service, the 59 minutes more service,
Yeah.
likely to be part coming out of the bus network redesign, but not necessarily. Some previous work probably from bus network redesign, but expanding those particular routes, not entirely, not necessarily. All right, I'll wrap up the review of the notes just to say that um, the Salem Skipper is another ride with Via, and that was also municipally funded. So the Chelsea Revere seems to be following the same model that Salem had already done. Um, I did not go into, no, actually I did. I didn't go into detail about the regulations for bus enforcement, but I did look over what's in front of the board tomorrow, and I actually can't tell if they're being asked to approve something. I'm actually going to pull it right up. You guys tell me if this is anything that you want to discuss tonight, or if it's just something where we want to wait and see how they vote tomorrow. Because this is the regulation that was put up on the website for the board meeting tomorrow. But this is dated from 2015. And the one that is up for the slide presentation, um, at the end, it does say proposed regulation. And at the very end of this, it says voted. I'm wondering, if is this something that was voted previously? And now this is, I don't know. But you guys tell me, how much of this do you want to look at tonight, or should we just wait and see what comes out of the board meeting tomorrow? I think it's all stuff that we reviewed previously. RTAs will be allowed,
Oh,
municipalities will be allowed. Basically,
jeez.
everybody can get on board with, pun not intended there. Everybody can get on board with enforcement, not limited to just the MBTA, not limited to just transit police. Len, any sense? Move on from this? Wait till
Um,
after the next board meeting tomorrow?
so I I don't know. I think the voted is going to be tomorrow. Um, so we're gonna go back and look at the agenda
Okay.
presentation. Let me look at the regulations link.
Yep. I thought this was worth noting that enforcement programs must be revenue neutral. Enforcing authorities cannot retain fines as revenue. Net revenue, so it may only cover costs to launch and operate the program. anything beyond the cost to operate the enforcement program goes
Yeah.
to the Massachusetts Transportation Trust Fund. That
Yeah.
sounds great to me. I'm not a fiscal financial person. I lean on Len for that kind of stuff, but that seems fair and appropriate.
I
Um,
think that's a way of keeping things in their own domain and not having people try to take advantage of and shift some resources around.
Yeah.
yep, yep. I did look through the exceptions here, and this seems to cover everything that
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, no violations if it's necessary to pass an emergency vehicle. Great. I mean, I'm glad that's being called out. If you if you're driving and a fire truck comes up behind you and you pull into the bus lane, oh, you're driving in the bus lane. If the fire department needs to pass you, you're not going to
Right.
not let them go. You're not going to avoid getting in the bus lane. So, yeah, I mean,
Right.
this is all
Yeah.
very sensible. It seems like covers all the possible cases. I mean, yeah, I mean, th
You're
if the
saying
violation,
it's reinforcing common sense.
yeah, yeah, very well said. Yes. Oh, yeah, and if the if the vehicle was complying with an officially posted thing, then hey, even if you are in a bus lane or a bus stop, if it is officially posted
Yeah.
something else, I mean, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I'm thrilled with this.
Yeah.
Um, Firefighting, police officer, utility vehicle, necessary to comply with any other law. Yeah. Okay. I think we get the point. It, if they haven't already voted on it tomorrow, they're gonna vote on it tomorrow. It seems clear because the presentation is up. Then I think that's it for the subcommittee agenda. Okay. Thank you. Len, did you have anything in mind that you wanted to review from the previous board meeting, or any other issues, or WIG, anything else that you wanted to review under this topic? Because I can pull up.
No.
All right, I'm gonna pull up one thing quickly that I don't think you had seen. Or I'm sorry, how would I know what you hadn't seen? This came up in the last subcommittee, but I didn't put it in the notes.
Yeah, this
WIG,
this is pretty interesting.
yes.
This would be worth having somebody talk with us, perhaps at the right time. These are a big deal.
Yes, indeed. And I don't
And
know if
there'll
you'd
be a
seen
lot of
this.
people from foreign places, foreign languages.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And did you catch this where um 6 of the 7 games are weekdays, and the MBTA is committed to moving 20,000 passengers per game. I don't think I've seen a total number of games that are going to be in Boston, but this is the Boston fact sheet, and it says 6 of 7 games. So I might be oversimplifying this. I hope I'm not, but um, oh, this is actually a total of 8. 7 games with one quarterfinal. Is that 8 total? I guess. But 20,000 passengers. The math that I did basically is based on what I remember from pre-pandemic. The largest single commuter rail consist that the T ran, I think it was NBCR at the time, was, I believe it was 9 coaches. I hope somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. And that was about 1,000, maybe 1,100 people. And that was the biggest commuter train that the MBTA ran at the time. So
Yeah,
that's, in very round numbers, that's 1,000. So the MBTA is talking about moving 20,000 people. That's 20 trains,
right.
20 trains in and out of the Foxborough Stadium track?
Yeah, if you've ever watched the commuter rail at Foxborough, now I haven't done it recently, but when I did, it was pathetically trivial relative to the motor vehicles.
Trivial in a good way? Trivial
No,
in a positive way?
well, no, it didn't. It carried virtually nobody.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the passenger count was trivial? Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I, oh, okay.
the whole thing was trivial.
Okay, I understand. I understand. I thought you were saying that the success rate was trivial. Okay. Okay. Well, I have got one piece of good news, and I don't know if you'd seen this slide, Wig. This is a rendering,
Yeah, I saw
but
that. It's a beautiful drawing.
with two tracks. There's only one track at the Foxborough Stadium, excuse me, uh, platforms right now. It's a single platform with a single track. Um,
Yeah.
am I
Well, so
optimistic that we could
here's
do 20
another
trains
thing.
per game? No, but
Here's another thing to think about, though. The reason that cars work for professional football is for many of the attendees, it's an all-day event. They don't
yes,
care
good
about
point.
getting away from the stadium right after the game, right?
Good point.
They go early, they bring barbecue stuff or other food that they prepared at home. They hang out with their friends in the normal part of the parking lot where they always hang out. And they're actually not anxious about getting there just before the game and leaving and getting home quickly
Right.
after the game. But very few other sports work that way. So, one of the questions in the back of my mind is, will FIFA work more like a NFL game, or will it work more like Bruins or Celtics or you know or Red Sox game? Because the
Yeah,
NFL games are totally different culture and time frame than our other professional sports.
true. Absolutely true. Well, I guess I don't really have anything more to add other than just I wanted to show you what we looked at during the subcommittee. Wig,
But one other tip, if you guys are
please.
going, if the Brazilians are there, they have incredible food variety, and you probably want to hang out near the Brazilian barbecue. And it's healthy. A lot of it's healthy.
Very good.
So,
Um, cool.
I hadn't been responding because I was kind of looking through the that deck on the regulations, and looking
Okay.
in the Mass General Code, and so these are regulations that the MBTA is proposing. I think it was
Hmm.
voted at the subcommittee where they discussed this.
Hmm.
And so now that subcommittee is bringing this to the board, but I think the deal, and I think the
Ah,
board will probably then make the final vote to approve the regulations. But I guess the law required that the MBTA do the regulations to, um, um, you know, to prohibit, standing, in or driving, in the bus
mhm.
lanes. And so these are the regulations the T has come up with.
That's pretty important.
You
Okay.
yeah.
So that would explain why at the end of the slide it said voted, because you're indicating, Len, that it was voted in the MBTA board subcommittee. Am I
Yeah, I'm
hearing
thinking
that
it's probably
right?
voted, in, yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense. And so it's for the full board tomorrow to make the final approval. That
That's
makes
what I'm
sense.
thinking.
Thank you
So,
for that.
uh, not 100% sure, but that's what I think is going on.
I like that.
Uh,
Okay.
oh, excuse me.
That's all right. Um,
It would be fun to have a presentation on that. I mean, by a real person.
oh, actually, that is our intention. We were mentioning before Alex Hollowell, and she is did I just closed the tab. Um, Alex Hollowell is the director of all transit priority at the MBTA, including things like the well, bus lanes enforcement, um, the electronics like signal system interfaces to let buses get through or to move traffic so buses get through faster. And she's on our short list to invite to a future rock meeting. So the hope is that indeed we will have Alex able to join us, Wig,
Okay.
as the subject matter expert for that. Um, I think the only other item that I wanted to bring up that is just sort of hot off the press was the upcoming signal replacement plan. Because this, if you look carefully, this is actually dated for tomorrow. This is for the board presentation tomorrow. And this, I believe, is going to be the final part of upgrading the old Green Line main tunnel signals. Yeah, there it is. The last remaining old 25 hertz and relay based, by the way, if you're not familiar with the term, relays like we see here in these, can't really make it out, but it's a great photo. Um, Relays are electromechanical things. In other
Right.
words,
Yep.
current goes through, something goes click,
Yep.
current stops, something else goes, and it opens, it's a
Right.
mechanical, it
Right.
moves.
Yep.
Reliability of mechanical things, almost always. I'm not going to say always. I'm going to say almost always less reliable than all electronic solid state. That's this plan. Um, I'm just
Yeah.
bringing this up
Probably,
because
probably getting worse as we move away from all the great manufacturing experts who used to make
oh
stuff.
yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, imagine trying to troubleshoot something here. You'd have to be an absolute expert. How
Yeah.
many do we have left?
Yeah.
But yeah. So I just wanted to call this out as saying
Yep.
this presentation says last remaining. I'm
Yeah.
thrilled to hear that. As much as I'm a fan of retro technology, I don't want it live in my transit system.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fiber connections, um, support new. I I wish I remembered the difference between the 25 hertz and 100 hertz. There is a very specific technical reason why the 100 hertz is better. I just don't remember right now. But the work area is pretty huge. I don't know if you can make it out. It's really I'll
Yeah.
summarize it. Um, the work area, this is Heinz right here. So it's all the way from Heinz to I don't know if you can make it out. Copley, the little boxes. I could maybe zoom in a little bit more
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all the way from Heinz,
Yep.
Copley, Arlington, Boylston, and
Yep.
I believe Park Street, all the way up to Haymarket. Yep, yep. So apparently from north of Haymarket, it's already been hit as hit. That sounds like a negative thing. Already been upgraded, but
Yeah.
that's basically that's got to be like 85 or 90% of all the central sub. I mean, how much more tunnel is there? There's a little bit more tunnel, right? Beyond Hines to Kenmore. There's a little bit more tunnel from uh Prudential Symphony, but there's the point. I mean, this is like the whole tunnel. That's massive. So I guess it's no real surprise that the time for oh that's right. It isn't the time frame here, but $25 million.
Wow.
Yep. So I guess this really isn't anything for us to review at this point, other than to keep our eyes out on it, um, because this is big.
Yeah.
So there you go. Unless you wanted uh talk
So
to
that kind of
talk more about
project's
that.
easier to do when you're shut down a few hours a day than when you keep going, I imagine.
Oh, you mean?
Just
Oh,
physically.
I think that's actually going to involve outages and bus replacement.
Oh, okay.
I think so, because
You
well,
think it's
hopefully,
too big to do during the shutdown?
I think so. Yeah, because we're talking about the most critical part, not only in terms of safety, but in terms of throughput. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
if anything went wrong, you've got a lot of people inconvenienced, and I think I don't want to say I hope that it'll be bus substitute, but if that makes sense, I
Yeah.
hope I hope it's bus substitution if that is the most sensible thing for minimizing
Yeah.
any safety to passenger risk,
Yeah.
safety to worker risk, and
Yeah, it'd
certainly
be a lot
we've
easier. It'd be a lot easier than working part-time each
yeah,
day.
and over the last when did we really see the shift to service outages, to full service shutdowns, away from the whole night and weekend thing, when it was
Right.
like only like 4 or 5 years ago? Len, do you remember
Yeah, well, I
the
mean,
whole like paradigm shift of just shut it down and do everything
well, I mean, it coincided
24/7?
with Ng's arrival because that was when the FTA started issuing, safety, whatever it is, warnings, whatever it is, that or mandates, that
That's
really
right.
hobbled the T. And
Yeah, it
so
was that.
so the system was just kind of riddled with safety zones,
Yep.
and so
Yeah.
so at that point, it was almost like, wow, it's going it's it's working pretty poorly as it is.
Mhm.
So shutting it down, yeah, that's going to be a greater inconvenience. You might as well go ahead and do it. Also, it coincided with the pandemic, and
Yeah.
Yes.
ridership was already down, and the thinking was like, okay, ridership's down, let's get in there and do as much as we can. But then it went on after the pandemic. But that
Yeah.
was the whole point, was just to expedite, you know. The expedite the process. And also, the T had was given the money by the legislature to do it because it's expensive.
Yeah.
To provide that bus service, it's pretty pricey. And you know,
Buses are usually pretty nice and convenient.
yeah,
The issue is often um, kind of walking to and from where you want to get to the buses.
yeah.
In different towns, they have to stage differently.
Well, whenever I got it, it was always fairly convenient. But I was getting it. Well, yeah, for Charles Street, it was fairly convenient. And for
But
Alewife.
they had some shutdowns pretty far out on the north side.
Mhm. Yeah, so I don't know how those go. I need to make a correction. To what I
Oh,
said about the vote language. I think that was not reflected in the previous vote. It's what they will vote in tomorrow. And the reason I say that is because the reason I've changed my mind is I was looking at the uh, item for the funding. Let's see, what's it called, the fair share funding, ISA with the
sorry, I'm just
MBTA.
yep.
And then if you scroll to the bottom of that, it says voted. But also, if you read the that letter, it's very clear that it's what they're going to ask the vote board to vote on. And then even at the very bottom, if you see, it says requested board vote, and then it says voted. So I had said that it seems like that had been voted on in the previous meeting. I now take that back, and so I think
Okay.
that's what they're asking them to vote on that at tomorrow's meeting, with respect to the um, driving in the bus lane
Okay,
regulation.
cool.
Okay,
Yeah, no worries.
sure, no
No
problem.
worries.
I think
Well,
that,
this is partly for us, and it's partly because this is being recorded, so someone may listen to it. It's like, oh, I need to correct that,
oh,
if
Oh
they're
yeah,
that's
still listening.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
super considerate of you.
sure.
Yeah, very good. Um, I think I've only got one other item to bring up under new business external meetings. I didn't have anything else to review with you gents from board
Yep.
meetings. Oh, unless Wig, had you heard about the Riverside Avenue Medford purchase? I believe it was voted to proceed. Do you know about that for a new bus maintenance facility?
Not in any detail, no.
Okay. We won't go into the detail, but I will put the link to the slide deck.
That's
Uh,
okay. That's
well, no,
okay. Don't.
it'll be in the it'll be in the meeting history if you want to come back
Okay.
to it. You can click
Okay.
on it now in the Zoom chat if you want, but um basically the nuts and bolts are 20 just a little over 20 acres that if you see here supports the replacement of the Lynn and Fellsway facilities. Um, I I personally would be shocked if the Lynn facility completely went away, but maybe scaled down into more of a light maintenance, not
Yeah.
heavy maintenance. But
Yeah.
I mean, certainly I had forgotten that the Lynn I know Jonathan's told me this a couple times. I had forgotten that the Lynn facility goes back to just a couple years after the streetcars were done. In fact,
Well,
I have a vague memory that there were still streetcar tracks showing in a couple of the places in the Lynn garage when we moved up here 25 years ago, 23 years ago. But anyway, the 440 Riverside, I'm actually going to pull that up because you might know this wig in 440 Riverside in Malden is right off. Come on. Sorry, it won't take much longer. Here we go. Yeah, got it. Okay. Pull this in over here now. So just for a sense, and I'm not gonna go too long on this, just for a sense of location, I want to do satellite and transit. Okay. So we know Orange Line and commuter rail. This is the Haverhill line with the Orange Line. This is the going up to Oak Grove. For a sense of location, here's Wellington, here's the Mystic,
yep.
the Earhart Dam, here's Assembly. Oh, and I do want to at the end, I want to hear more about the event, the opening of that facility at Assembly Wig, so it's on the record. That sounds really cool. But let me,
It's
yeah,
pretty small.
so
It's pretty small. Not.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get through this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to hear about that. But what's really exciting about this is, um, at least for me, it's right off of the Fellsway here. So that's a really good location. The 93 corridor is not that far off. I mean, you go up to Fellsway to it.
Right.
Clearly, if you go down to Route 16, bam, there's a good connector to get you up to places like Lynn. But I think it's also notable that even today, this property, and by the way, I'll show you the one that the T is thinking about buying is this whole thing in here all 20 acres all the way it's and if you didn't already guess, do you see how this property line kind of curves?
Up.
Well, guess what? Up until very recently, they had freight service,
Yeah.
and you can still
Yeah.
even see
Sure.
the tracks look
Yep.
like they could have been used just last week.
Yep.
But I believe they're paved over up in the parking lot here. But I
Yep.
believe this is a Budweiser bottling plant right now. But I believe the board approved the purchase of this whole thing to be a new bus maintenance facility. I'm really excited. I think it's a great idea. And as kind of like a side benefit, because it's got this existing, although inactive rail connection, the possibility is there for the T to bring in components or vehicles or whatever by
Right.
rail. I mean, I doubt they ever would bring in bus vehicles or even like the parts and supplies by rail, but it's right there. So anytime that the MBTA can buy a facility that is so well, I think, located, um, and it's just a stone's throw with the tracks there just paved over in a couple places. Hey, great forward thinking. Two thumbs up.
Hmm, that's
Any
nice.
comments on this, Len? I don't know if I'd pulled up the actual satellite shots before. Do
It's
you have a
cool.
good sense of where this is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a decent sense of where it is, not a good sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So that railroad track you're saying extends all the way to that track, being to the right there. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. The commuter rail line,
Hmm.
um, and you can actually see where the commuter rail line is still hooked up to it. And believe it or not, or is this the well, they may have ripped out the commuter rail connection. This was actually the scrap track where the old Hawker Siddeley cars were lined up. I forget which one of these tracks is actually commuter rail or if they just used it for Orange Line. Yeah, oh yeah, you can see one is hooked up. They're probably using it for a yard, but this was the track that was the very last before the old Orange Line trains were getting taken away. They were trucking the old Orange Line trains out of this little yard right here, but the tracks are still there going. You can see them. They cross this road. Um, I think there's kind of blockage in a few places, but you can see the tracks.
Yeah.
And then there's a big bridge. I forget what this road is. Fellsway. Right. The Fellsway goes up and over. So, and then bam, there's the Riverside facility. To be clear, Riverside Avenue.
Right.
Um, and currently, and big access into it. Yeah. So it's the currently Busch, Budweiser, Bud Light. This is a street view from 2020. Anything newer than that? Yeah, 2022. Yep. Budweiser, Bud Light. Yep. But big access in and out,
Yeah.
20 plus acres. Like they were some of this. I mean, I hope they don't take away all the trees in the green space, but I'm thrilled. I mean, like I said, plus with the freight rail connection, if they ever decided to, hey, let's buy some buses and have them shipped here by rail, great.
So that's
Theoretically,
connected.
you could do it.
So that's connected to commercial rail.
As far as I know, the only thing, I mean, if it's not still fully connected, the only thing that would not be would be like the actual switch somewhere between the active commuter rail line and like over somewhere in here where they might have disconnected it for the scrapping of the orange line. I'm not sure, but
So
it's
so
a
there's freight that runs alongside the commuter rail line.
not currently,
Okay.
no.
All right.
I think it was about 5, 6 years ago. Um, but this plant here, this bottling plant, was the last freight customer, as far as I've been able to research,
Mhm.
um, on this little spur.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I'm thrilled about it, and yeah, 440 Riverside Avenue, and I believe that was voted and approved.
Okay.
What was the cost? Uh, yeah, building's already there. Potential for yeah. Well, I guess this is just current. I mean, we don't need climate controlled warehouse space for the MBTA. Not climate controlled is like yeah. Anyway, there you go. I don't want to belabor the point anymore. Um, okay. Then I think the real final thing, unless either of you gents have any last item for tonight,
I
There's one
wanted
more
to
thing I
give
want
the
to.
capital and operating results.
Oh, please, yeah, go for it. Sorry.
No, no, you can go ahead with your last thing, and then we can always come back to this another time because it's
Oh,
the
I don't.
fiscal
I
year.
no, please. If you've got something, please go
What
right
what
ahead.
did, what did you have though? I'm curious as what you had.
I I want to just quickly summarize the um my I want to summarize the meeting that I saw, the public meeting on the Linway corridor multimodal project,
Yeah,
which is it's the second one that was held in Lynn. There was one back earlier. I think the first one was back in April or May. Um, the 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 most likely design, as I understand it, but nothing is set in stone. For the record of anybody watching this recording, nothing is set in stone. Everything's on the table, but it seems most likely that the Linway currently, where it's 3 lanes, is going to be going down to 2 for regular traffic with a bus lane added and some kind of a protected um, bike lane and better, much more safer sidewalks for pedestrians, plus traffic calming measures, which usually means timed lights and design features so that people can't go 55 miles an hour where there's actually a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit and you've got people waiting for the bus a foot and a half or 2 feet from where your mirror in your car is going by. It's a death trap right now. Um, but my report that I'm going to give you now is that I went to this public meeting that was September yeah, I went to the one that was in September 10th at the community college and I was appalled. Um, it struck me as just shy of um, white privilege automobile class giving no sense of recognition to people who are transit dependent, non-white, low income. There were people from primarily Nahant there, which is almost transit starved except for one bus route that I think the last time Jonathan told us about the Nahant bus route, it's like what, like 3 circular trips in the morning peak wig and like 3 circular trips in the PM peak and then like 1 or 2 in the middle of the day. It, it's not really transit served. You really have to have a car to get in and out of Nahant. Um, and the vast majority, I'd say probably like 90% of people that spoke at this corridor project meeting were just up in arms against anything less than expanding the roadway and how dare we talk about giving people bus lanes. They don't pay excise taxes. It was appalling. I was embarrassed I didn't speak up because I didn't want to get into any fist fights, but it was some of the most borderline racist, um, selfish public speaking that I've heard in a long, long, long time.
Mm.
People just they were publicly saying, "I expect this important route through Lynn to be a highway and get everybody off else out of here. I don't give a damn about the buses or the poor transit dependent people." It was horrifying. But anyway, that's my report. I personally hope that we get bus lanes and protected um, bike lanes, and I hope it goes from 3 lanes to 2. God damn it!
Well, and then I mean, next time you send a letter, I mean, or something if you didn't want to speak. I mean, I can certainly appreciate when you have angry people,
Mhm.
saying things that you don't want to like say anything against them because people who go that far, there's no telling how far they'll go. And
Yep.
so why subject yourself to that kind of physical risk?
Yep.
But if you don't, then that's all they hear. I mean, and so I mean, I would say send a letter and then explain why you didn't say anything. I mean, and I do hope that when people do these
Yeah.
public hearings, they realize, that there's a bias as to who shows up. I mean, and just
Oh, yeah.
because the proponent, the vast majority of people making comments, I mean, in one direction, it doesn't necessarily reflect me what the overall public feels me. But this hearing process is part of the process. I think we should always have the process. I'm not
Oh,
in
yes.
favor of not having it, because it is a window, into sentiments, but can't use them
Oh, yeah.
as, yeah. Anyway, that's interesting, so all I can say is that, you know, any given race tends to be really hard on its own race when it comes to this kind of critique. So but I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt in that you're just not being hard on white folks because you're white. In that it really was kind of borderline, racist. I mean, which is too bad.
I couldn't
I
sleep that night.
Yeah, I mean,
I literally couldn't sleep the night
yeah,
after
right,
that event because it just kept running through my head. Oh my
right,
God, are
yeah,
these really do these people really expect my community to just be a highway from them, from
right,
their high rent I mean, Nahant's one of the most wealthy communities on the North Shore.
right,
It's one of the most affluent. It's almost like a it's almost like a gated community
right.
because there's one road in and out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
and the person that said, "Why do we care about people who take the bus? They don't pay excise tax." That was actually said.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Uh, it's
And the people who were saying like it, the traffic is ridiculous now with 3 lanes. Yeah, that's why we need a bus lane so that we can
right.
get more people
Right.
instead of all you
Don't say
blankety blanks with
it.
one person in one car. That was going to be one of the other things if I
Uh,
had spoken up, it would have been like, hello, you can get 50 people on a bus.
right.
How many people are in your car?
Right.
They
Yeah.
didn't,
Well,
people want
you
to turn my community into a highway? No, no.
you've got an opportunity to reconsider. I think tomorrow night. I'm not sure, but Susan Solomon, who I think wrote 1,000 peer-reviewed journal papers when she was a MIT professor, is speaking there tomorrow.
Where's there?
I think in Nahant.
Hmm.
Really?
Yeah, she's some of these people, it's hard to push them out the door at MIT because they just, you know,
What's her name
they're
again?
I Susan Solomon, I think she's got a Nobel Prize for
Oh,
her
really?
climate science
Oh.
work.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not that easy to get a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. No, it's not. Although there's a certain person who's trying to devalue the whole notion of a Nobel Prize. So if,
Yeah, and
if
honestly,
this person
I
gets
don't
one,
know
they
her.
they won't be worth anything. Go ahead. And that
I
person
don't
doesn't
know her
realize it.
her personally, just a
Yeah.
little bit by reputation because
Yeah.
of my time at MIT. I would be stunned if she had the
Got it.
adverse attitudes.
I got it. You are right. Thank you. It is, in fact, tomorrow,
Yeah, it was.
September
I get the
20.
Lynn item I only get newspapers online. I don't get paper, but
Oh,
I get
Thursday.
I get the Lynn item. So I did note that.
Thursday, 25th.
I mean, she's
All right.
extraordinarily distinguished academically. I don't know her,
All
but
right.
Wow.
I wish I could take the bus over there, but I can't because there isn't enough service. Or there isn't enough frequent there's not frequent enough service. Sorry.
well,
For
some
my
people would
needs.
tell you to just swim, Stefan.
Oh.
So wait,
Yeah, but
there is a bus that goes in the hot.
there is.
That's
Yep.
good.
I think it's
Yeah.
439 and Just because,
And they
well,
have had they have had a somewhat you probably know this, Stefan, their relationship with Northeastern, because there is some marine
yes.
studies out there.
Yep. Here we
And
go.
that gets, that
439
gets a little complicated.
Lynn Loop. And what did I say? Wow, look at that service level. That's the entire schedule. That would be one trip, two trips in the morning, one in the middle of the day, and then one trip, second trip. Well, I
Yeah,
guess, well,
so
yeah, 'cause it's a loop. So wait a minute. What are we seeing here? Oh, right, because it goes to Wonderland, technically. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bass Point, so it goes Central Square out to Bass Point, leaves Bass Point back to Central Square. Yeah. So okay, so I was right. Yeah. Two
yeah,
trips in
so
the
if you
morning,
go if you
one in the
go by
middle of the day,
public
two. Yeah.
if you go by public transit to that talk, take a sleeping bag or some flippers to get home.
Yeah. But here's the killer. Guess what? In order to get back from the ocean to Lynn Inland, you got to cross the Linway where they're going 55 miles an hour in a 35 zone. Ah.
Mm, yeah.
uh,
Well, thank you for hearing me out on that one.
sure. Well, that's interesting.
That is all of the topics that I wanted to review with you. Wig, I would love to hear um, in our remaining time. Oh no, no,
No,
Len,
no,
just
no,
do
no.
finance,
Wait,
finance, finance, finance.
no, we'll do finance next time because we only have like 8 minutes. So why don't we just do it next time? It's fine.
Okay, all right. Because Wig, what I would, while it's fresh on your mind, I would really love to hear you describe right from the beginning what you're talking about at assembly, multimodal, not MBTA, or it does have
Yeah, no,
MBTA
no, it
connection.
is
It,
MBTA.
yeah, tell us all about this.
Rachel Fichtenbaum was there, and a number of other people. This is just a very, I would say a very light effort, but to kind of subdue the key intersection that's currently at Assembly Square with, more pedestrian and bus friendliness.
Yeah.
There is a plan, as I mentioned earlier, to actually have a building that is a transportation research center in the future. And it would be in the center of Assembly, which is about 2 blocks from the one of the head houses. I mean, you can see down
Wow.
the street to the head house, but they've been doing basically street plantings, as I mentioned, in bright orange table anybody can sit at. I've seen a lot of people, just very small groups sit there with a sandwich or something, or
Whereabouts exactly? I mean, I know
um,
it's not going to be on this satellite because this satellite's from like a
no,
month or
no,
a year
but
ago, but just where
it's at the corner right where the old plant meets the new buildings, right? So
um can you give me just a sense
yeah,
like
yeah. Well, don't yeah, go ahead.
no just tell me where to look here because here's
Yeah.
the Mass
So
General Brigham Garage, here's
yeah,
Assembly
yeah. So it was
Station.
easier the way you had it before, but
Oh, okay.
if
Yep.
you look up that north-south street,
Yep.
right, it's 1 block up, right, on
Okay.
the straight street, and
Yep.
that cross street goes to the main head house of the T stop at
Oh,
Assembly.
so would that be Foley?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
is it this
it's
intersection right here?
I can't see what you're pointing to.
Oh, the one with
Oh
the one
yeah,
that's got
yeah.
the
The
green
box.
sidewalk or the
Yeah,
the
so
green
it's the upper left. It's the upper left. They've been doing it's not shown in this photo,
right.
but they've been doing a lot of small stuff to kind of make it friendlier if somebody wants to sit while they're waiting for the bus or have a sandwich or
Nice.
that kind of thing. And they've got a little bit of raised area. They took away any ability to park for more than a bus length so that, people could hang out on there if they're, want to be standing there when the bus gets there
Nice.
and, that
Let's
kind of thing. Um,
let's pull in and see. Is this Is this what we're talking about? Is this the
Yeah,
right
but
corner?
it doesn't have the new furniture.
Okay.
That is the biggest bike rental uh, place as well at
Nice.
Assembly. I mean, there's a number of places you can get or drop bikes, but
Yeah.
so it's kind of a
Looks like a great
pedestrian
spot.
and bicycle and non-car driver enhanced intersection with not too heavy a hand because longer run. Yeah, so you can see that area where the from the intersection to the first parked car, that's now
Yeah.
all raised and it's clearly a
I
place
love
to
it.
stand to pick up the buses. Again, it's all a light hand. This is not super
Yep.
heavy handed, but it's just kind of
I
uh,
love it.
putting down a footprint to reclaim stuff that people would normally think was for cars.
Fantastic. And did you say there's actually like a little, maybe I misheard you. Maybe I'm
Yeah, so
projecting.
that
Was
corner
there a
that you can
kiosk?
see in green,
Yep.
there's now planters going out around there, and they've got
Nice.
big tubs with beautiful flowers and little tiny short shrubs and things. So
Nice.
that whole area is reclaimed for pedestrians already. One thing I do notice in this, see you see the cross light, but also
Yep.
the crosswalk.
Yep.
And the lights are what's important. And some
Okay.
people, people come from all over to assembly, and some people are used to thinking, well, if I just step out into the crosswalk, I've got the right of way.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
motor vehicles don't think that way.
Right.
They're looking at the traffic lights. So that's a bit of an issue.
Yes. Yes. I've
But
seen
I mean, the
issues like,
bicyclists, the pedestrians, and the transit users are all pretty savvy about this stuff. But
yeah.
when you have people from all different places, assembly probably draws people from 30 miles.
Yep.
They're coming from a lot of different paradigms, some of
Yes.
which are just car based.
I have seen far too many close calls in Harvard Square.
Right.
I don't want to point fingers improperly, but it seemed like a lot of them were from out of town, out of the country, from other countries, people who thought what you were saying, I'll just step out and the traffic will yield to
Yeah, well,
me.
sometimes I
And
think we should impose a regional design instead of every city do its own thing, every town do its
yeah,
own thing.
yep.
But
Did I hear you say though that there's actually I might not have heard this right. Did you say there's actually a kiosk there?
there's not a kiosk there right
Okay.
now, but there's this bright orange furniture, which is kind of inviting because it's just kind of sitting there,
Okay.
and it's clearly not owned by anybody. It's not attached to any retailer or anybody else. So people just walking by, have a little bit of time. They have their sandwich with them or coffee or whatever. They just kind of sit down, and sometimes they have little kids that might be tired if they've been walking too much. And
Yeah. So Grand, I'll look this up for later. Grand Union Boulevard and Foley Street. If
right.
there's any news coverage, I'll just show it quickly next time we meet. This is great.
Yeah, and if you're ever down there, check it out.
Oh yeah. I'm thrilled.
I did suggest to one or two people that you remember the woman who jumped off the bridge into the river when the orange
Yeah.
line broke down. I think she deserves a statue somewhere. She walked ashore, if you remember, past some flabbergasted older retired guys who were just hanging out playing cards, and then went to work after jumping off the
That's right.
train bridge into the
Yeah.
river. No one
Oh my
knows who
God.
she is. She's never been outed.
uh, hmm, wow,
And I think
interesting.
the train caught on fire, right, on the bridge?
Yeah, the
Yes.
I mean, it didn't like get engulfed or anything. I mean,
Right,
I think the plate made
right.
cause
That's right. No, you've
fire.
got it right.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, yeah. Uh,
But she's a legend in my head, maybe not anybody else's.
well, I mean, it's to me, it's not so much that she jumped into the water, but that she jumped into cold water because it's like is water up here ever warm? It was in the middle of summer, so maybe it wasn't that cold. And
I think it was pretty cold.
it's pretty cold, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
It's
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
pretty.
the draw seven water is salt water, its title. Um
Yes.
Yeah,
the
but you don't
red
know.
the It's got both. The upriver is freshwater, but there's the locks are at Assembly Square on the draw seven in the draw seven park. So big difference between the waters.
Yeah.
Oh, holy cow. The new fire station is all electric vehicles in assembly. Wow. I just stumbled on that.
Yeah.
The Assembly
Electric
Row fire station is now all electric vehicles. I
wow,
didn't even know there were electric
fire
fire
truck.
vehicles available.
That's
Astounding.
impressive.
I mean, it's a pretty big place and there's a lot of visitors per day. Not like international visitors, just regional. It's pretty busy. And it's super diverse, not in an American sense, but country of origin. I think it's the most diverse part of Somerville. Years ago, it would have been Union Square, I think, or Sullivan Square, but now I think it's Assembly Square. A lot of new immigrants from country, newer countries.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The Oh, no, the building is fossil fuel free.
All
Yeah,
right.
that sounds more correct.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds more correct because
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
The building is 100% electric heat with heating and cooling via.
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds better.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
I
was
was
mean,
thinking the
surprised too.
public
if
safety vehicles can't be all electric because the runtime
well,
isn't,
they could be
right?
if Elon Musk decided that was his main purpose in life, but
True.
those Teslas accelerate pretty well.
Okay. Well, at least
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
explains it.
Now we're talking about now we talk to before we get in trouble, let's just end this meeting. So,
Yeah, I think we're well over.
yeah.
A little over.
Yeah.
Well, the
Thank you,
agenda
gents.
you notice says we end at 6:30 today.
Yeah.
That's advisory.
Oh,
I think I will make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second.
All right.
So long,
Uh,
guys.
thank you, gents.
Nice seeing you.
See you
yeah.